Okay, to solve a rational equation, we still have to do our limits on the domain to figure out what our variable cannot be, because you can't divide by 0. So in other words, in this problem, x minus 8 cannot be 0. So we know x cannot be 8. So I solve the problem like I would any other way, except when I'm done, I make sure my answer can't be 8. So I'm going to clear my fractions. So I'm going to multiply every single term by x minus 8. So x minus 8 times x minus 8 times x minus 8. So in other words, we have x times x minus 8. Probably could have multiplied that out, but I didn't. Notice on my second term, my x minus 8s, they reduce out, so I get plus 6 equals 0. So in other words, I get x squared minus 8x plus 6 equals 0. Now to solve that, I don't think I can find two numbers that multiply to 6 and add to 8, can I? Because it's just 1 and 6, which would be 7, and then 2 and 4, no, 2 and 3 would be 5. So I'm going to use quadratic formula. So I would say the opposite of b, so 8, 8 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which would be 64, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 6, all over 2 times 1. So we get 8 plus or minus 64 minus 24 all over 2. So then let's say 8 plus or minus 64 minus 24 would be 40 all over 2. I'm going to simplify. 8 divided by 2 is 4. The square root of 40 would be 2 square roots of 10. So in other words, my answer for x is 4 plus or minus the square root of 10, neither which is, I should say both which is in our domain, so that is our answer. Okay, let's take a look at our next problem. We kind of do the same thing. First off, I notice x squared minus 6x plus 8. This one does factor to x minus 4 and x minus 2. So that tells me when I limit my domain, x cannot equal 4, x cannot equal 2. So what I do is I'm going to multiply every single term by x minus 4 and x plus 2.
Looks like somebody's in timeout.
Yeah. And x minus 2. So I get x minus 4 over here because my x minus 2s are going to reduce. I'm just going to write it over here. X minus 4 and x minus 2. So now what happens is my x minus 4s reduce. My x minus 2s reduce, so I get 4 on the left-hand side. The x minus 2s reduce, so you get equals 3x times x minus 4. My x minus 4 is reduced, so I get plus 2 times x minus 2. Now we distribute. So we get 4 equals 3x squared minus 12x plus 2x minus 4. Well, let's simplify that a little bit more. So 4 equals 3x squared minus 10x minus 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4 to both, or subtract 4 from both sides. So then I get 0 equals 3, I don't know why I put that parentheses there. I'm going to get rid of that. Getting ahead of myself. 3x squared minus 10x minus 12. And I'm thinking I can factor that. So let's go 3x and x. And I want to get 10. So if I do 1 and 12, that won't work. If I go 2 and 6, 3 times 2 is 6, that won't work. 3 times 6 is 18, that won't work. Let's try 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12, minus 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. I'm not going to get 10 there, am I? 3 times 2, yeah. I can't factor that. So, can't factor it, you got to use quadratic formula. So we're going to say negative b, so it would be positive 10, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which would be 100, minus 4 times 3 times negative 12, all over 2a, so it'll be 2 times 3. So I'll get 10 over 6 plus or minus 100 plus, and let me see, 4 times 3 is 12, 144, right? 144 all over 6. Well, 10 divided by 6 is 5 over 3, plus or minus the square root of 244 all over 6. And I think I'm kind of running out of room here. No, I'm not. I got plenty of room. I just didn't notice that. Equals. So let's say 5/3 plus or minus the square root of 244. I'm going to make a factor tree for that because I don't remember. I think 4 goes into 244. Yeah, it goes in there 61 times. So I get 2 square roots of 61 all over 6. So I'll say 5 plus or minus 2 square roots of 61 all over, nope, get rid of that 2, because 2 goes into 6 3 times. That's why I'm going to get a common denominator of 3. There's my answer. Both which are in our domain. Okay, let's take a look at an application problem. On example 10, it tells us the rate of water current in a river is 4 miles per hour. In 2 hours, a boat travels 6 miles with the current to one end of the river and 6 miles back. R is the rate of the boat in still water. R plus 4 is the rate with the current. R minus 4 is the rate against the current. Find R. So in other words, once we know R cannot equal 4 or negative 4. Of course, it can't be negative at all. My common denominator is R plus 4 or minus 4. So I'm going to say 6 times R plus 4 plus 6 times R minus 4 equals 2 times R plus 4, R minus 4. Well, let's simplify. So I get 6R plus 24 plus 6R minus 24 equals 2 times R squared minus 16. Well, 6R plus 6R is 12R equals equals 2R squared minus 32. Well, then I'll move my 12 over so I can factor it. So I can factor out, so I can make it equal to 0. So 0 equals 2R squared minus 12R minus 32. And then I can factor out my 2. So you get 2 times R squared minus 6R minus 16. And then what multiplies to 16? Well, that would be 8 and 2, wouldn't it? So it would be 2 times R. Let me make that just a tad bit thicker since it doesn't seem to like to write. times r minus 8 and r plus 2. So r equals 8 or negative 2. Can't be negative 2 because you can't have speed that is negative. So the current is going to be 8 miles per hour. And there we have it.